You cannot build a business through one channel anymore. I don't care if it's Instagram, TikTok, SEO, Google. One channel does not build big businesses anymore. All good marketing channels eventually get saturated, competitive, expensive.
So I've known Neil for at least a decade, right? Probably
It's been a long time.
long time.
I'm coming to your Temecula event.
Yes.
Is it Temecula?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Neil, if you could give a bit of the 1 or 2 minute version of the background of the Neil Patel world, and then we'll dive right into questions.
Sure. So my background is in marketing. I've been doing this for 22 years. I feel old. I'm not that old. I'm 38 now, but I do feel old. It could just be kids that make you feel old. And I've done everything from agencies. Most of my career I spent in software, doing analytics companies that just help enterprises with their brand. 5 years ago, I created an ad agency called NP Digital. And I think we're in 16 countries now. We're going to be in 20 by the end of the year. It's been a really fun ride. It's been an expensive ride, but it's been fun.
So from a human behaviors perspective, what do you think that brands are doing right? What do you think that some brands are doing wrong when it comes to social media and to paid ads?
The first thing I think brands are doing wrong is they focus on what's sexy. And here's what I mean by that. There's nothing wrong with TikTok. We're seeing roughly a 54%, currently I looked at last month's numbers, and it's a little bit of a lag. And when I mean last month's numbers, I'm not talking about May, I'm talking about April. So in April, we saw roughly a 54% cheaper CPA on TikTok than we did on Facebook ads, to give you an idea. TikTok is sexy, it's great, companies should be leveraging it. There's a lot of basic channels out there, like Google AdWords and Facebook and email marketing and conversion optimization, that are driving much more volume and can create a much bigger business that a lot of people don't work on first because they're just ugly and boring. Like, people look at Facebook these days as, oh, no one uses Facebook, it's TikTok and Instagram. Well, you may think that, but you know how much revenue you can make just from Facebook advertising? And even though TikTok has a cheaper CPA, it doesn't mean you should not be on TikTok. But TikTok, from what we've seen, cannot drive the volume as Google and Facebook yet. And it's quicker and easier to scale for most D2C companies or e-commerce companies, because we do it at scale at our ad agency, on the old, boring, ugly channels than the new, sexy ones. And that's the biggest mistake we see, in which e-commerce companies want the shiny object instead of focusing on basics. They want to create really amazing videos, kind of like Dr. Squash has the soap. Funny enough, I bought the soap because of the videos. You know, people look at them and like, I want videos like that. Yes, they're great, but you can leverage UGC content and see how those ad performs before you spend $50,000 or whatever it costs to create a video.
A lot of times brand owners or entrepreneurs like to get stuck on this thing that everything they've done is organic. I've never spent $1 on ads. I've never spent $1 on ads. And a lot of times people like wear it like a badge of honor. What would you say to someone of why they should be spending money on their ads?
If you never spent money on ads, no matter what size company you have, whether it's a startup or you're a $1 billion company, it's not a badge of honor. Google is a $1 trillion+ company. Facebook is large as well. Hundreds of billions of dollars, not 100, but hundreds, multiple hundreds of billions of dollars a year are spent on digital ads, specifically Google and Facebook alone, right? Google and Facebook alone, if you add them up, it's well over 200 billion. And when you look at that revenue, they generate that revenue not because it's cool to spend money on ads. They generate that revenue because businesses know that if they spend money on those channels, at least the businesses that are spending money, majority of them keep spending because they're making more money. What you're doing organic is great, but what if you can scale up to double, triple your size by doing paid advertising as well? My background started in SEO, getting that organic free traffic. It's an ugly marketing channel, no one really talks about it these days. It's still super effective. But some of these boring channels like paid Google ads or paid Facebook ads, they're super effective and you can't ignore them. And if you do, your competition is going to beat you, guaranteed. There's just so much inventory there.
So I always have this emotional answer when I hear people say that they never spend money on ads. If you believe that you have a health product and your health product helps people, it's rude of you not to spend money to get more people to see it. If you believe that your fitness product helps people get muscles or lose weight, it's rude of you to not spend money to get more people to see it and buy that product. That applies to your book, to your vitamin, to whatever product, service, or whatever you do. If you think that it helps people, then you should be spending money on ads to get more people to see it so you can help more people. And so oftentimes we get stuck in our own ways thinking that it's cool to not ever spend money on ads, which leads into my next question. Do you look at spending money on ads as a cost or as an investment?
Investment. If you spend $1 and you can make $2, you're good. If you spend $1 and you lose money, then you got to keep tweaking your ads until you can make it profitable. If you don't believe that you can make it profitable, look at your competition, because someone in your space, chances are, has figured out how to make it profitable. And if you're optimizing for revenue right then and there, you're going to end up losing. The real way to make money on e-commerce through ads is optimizing for the lifetime value of a customer. How can you get someone to buy from you and then keep buying from you? And even when they buy one product from you, what are the upsells and downsells that you can provide right then and there to generate more income?
So let's walk through. You've said a couple different things tonight in the first few minutes. I want to break down. When you said CPA, what does that mean?
CPA means cost per acquisition. How much does it cost you to acquire a customer? So for example, if you spend $1 a click on Google Ads and you have to buy 10 clicks, and when you buy 10 clicks, one of them turns into a customer, that means it costs you $10 to acquire a customer. So for every 10 clicks, you're spending $1 per click, so that's $10 total. And for every 10 clicks you get, if one turns up to be a customer, that means it's costing you on average $10 to acquire a customer.
When you said upsell, downsell, what does that mean?
How many of you guys go to McDonald's still? Very few of you have kids, that means. If you have kids, they see those French fries, and funny enough, on Instagram I found out that their French fries have chemicals in them, hence there's no spots. I still can't convince my daughter not to eat them though. But when you go to McDonald's, my daughter goes to McDonald's and goes to that counter. They have these computer things these days, and I'm not good at them, even though I'm in tech. I go to the counter. My daughter says, Happy Meal. Oh, do you want water with that? Apple juice. They probably charge me more for that. Oh, do you want double the fries? Do you want 6 nuggets instead of 4 nuggets? Do you want, the worst is when they ask me if I want one of their ice cream blended milkshake thingies. I don't know what they're called. McFlurry. See, you guys know this. More of you guys go to McDonald's than you want to admit. And that's not included in the Happy Meal. That's an upsell. They're selling me on stuff I don't want, but they know it's going to be hard for me to say no to my daughter when she throws a tantrum. So when you buy a hamburger at McDonald's and they ask you, do you want fries with that? That's an example of an upsell. Or they may say, here's actually a better one. All right, you go to McDonald's, you say you want a Big Mac. Do you want to make that in a meal? That's an upsell. You say no. If you say yes, great, they'll try to still sell you on more. If you say no, they'll be like, oh, do you just want fries with that, a small fry? That's a downsell, something cheap, but if you're eating burgers, why not eat fries as well?
Is there any one main platform that people should be using, or should they try to use all the major platforms and use email, SEO, etc.?
You cannot build a business through one channel anymore. I don't care if it's Instagram, TikTok, SEO, Google. One channel does not build big businesses anymore. All good marketing channels eventually get saturated, competitive, expensive. But on the flip side, if you leverage Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, SEO, CRO, paid Google ads, media buys, influencer marketing, the list goes on and on. What we've seen is your CPA, your cost to acquire a customer, which we just talked about a little bit earlier. Remember the 10 clicks, $1 per click, costs you $10 then? we see your CPA roughly go down between 9 and 11%. So an omni-channel approach really does help. And what brought light to this at first was Expedia. You guys are all familiar with Expedia. It may not be as sexy as Booking.com, but a lot of people still use it. Expedia owns Hotels.com. They used to own Trivago, TripAdvisor, etc. They spun out TripAdvisor years ago. And they did an internal test with some of their brands that were already well known. Even though people knew brands like Expedia, when they ran TV ads, radio ads, online ads, and the list went on, they found out the cost to acquire a customer on all the channels went down by roughly 10%, which we still see holding true. They all work together.
So if someone is first launching a company, let's say there's someone in the audience, they're about to start their product or they're about to start their company, how do they know how to get started? Should they be doing it themselves? Should they hire an agency? Should they research different platforms? Like when you're first getting started, what would you recommend for someone that has the first 10 or 20 grand to get started with?
Sure, so if your budget is 10 to 20 grand, you could potentially hire an agency. It depends what agencies charge. We tend to focus on enterprise businesses. Our ideal customer is publicly traded. So in that case, like hiring an agency like ours is not the best approach. If you're a startup that's funded, sure, you can end up hiring an agency, right? But if you're starting off and you only have $10,000, $20,000, your money is gonna go much further if you try to do things on your own. An agency is great if you wanna kickstart things and get results faster, because hopefully, you've hired one that's done stuff in your space. But what I would recommend, if you're starting off, you're on a shoestring budget, try to do as much on your own. Shopify has amazing templates that you can just use to get sites up. And there's a lot of programs online that teach you how to run Facebook ads or Instagram ads or TikTok ads. Or you can find a really cheap contractor. You may not get the results, the ideal results you're looking for, but it's a good start. And when I say you're not gonna get the ideal results you're looking for, there's a lot of contractors and people that can help you get a start and get to 5, 10 grand a month in revenue, even 20, 30. The hard part is actually scaling it and getting to millions a month in revenue. And that's where you may need better experts. But when you're starting off, something's better than nothing, and it's not that hard to start generating $5,000, $10,000 worth of revenue a month when you're starting off with small budgets, because you can still get clicks at really affordable prices. It's when you scale there's issues.
So there's something called beta testing, where people actually change the color, the font size, the image. They use circle and a square and purple and yellow. Can you walk us through, does that really matter?
So A/B testing is showing people two different variations. I'll give you a great example of this. If I sell you on this amazing soap, all right? I don't know why I'm thinking soap, but saw the soap sponsorship at the beginning, and they have good soap. But if I'm selling you soap,
see, advertising works, right?
Yeah, their ads do work. If I'm not that manly though, they have those ads with that buff dude with the beers. I'm like, yeah, that ain't me, but your soap smells like chocolate. My kids like chocolate. Maybe they'll come to me more instead of mom. That was my thesis on buying it. Didn't work with a young one. I forgot the concept that mom produces milk, dad doesn't. So I lost that battle. But that's really why I bought the soap in the first place. So when you think about soap, their ad is very emotional, right? It's cool, it's fun, it's entertaining, it's appealing to the emotional side of your brain. Some people, when they see that ad, buy, like me. But there's some people that don't buy because they're not really sold by that emotion. So what A/B testing is, hey, I show 50% of my audience the emotional ad on why this is a cool soap, you're gonna be buff and strong and you'll smell good. And I'm gonna show the other 50% maybe a logical, data-driven marketing approach. If you use this soap, our soap is, I'm making this up now, 31% less likely to dry your skin compared to Dove. Our soap is, per usage, it lasts 32 times longer than Lever 2000. Again, I'm making up all these stats. But if you have tons of data and use a logical approach, that may be able to convince people to buy more or less. No one really knows. So you run tests. On the flip side, some people just do simple tests like, let me change the color of a button. That doesn't impact conversions too much, but it's big things like, what is your messaging saying? Are you using images versus videos? So you would try different variations out with people to see what converts better. And there's a lot of tools that help you do this, like Optimize the Crazy Egg, VWO. You can try any of them to see which version converts better.